suffering be dispelled. Let all pain, suffering be dispelled. Hey, it's lovely to be with you, lovely to be with you. So here we are, it's the Blue Lotus Satsang, the Magic Satsang. I can feel something in the air today. There's something in the energy that's shifting for the better, dare I say. There's a sort of more quietude, it seems, not quite as much noise in the energy. Well, the action might be similar to what it was previously. There's a sort of, I get a sense of calm. Maybe it's me, I don't know. I hope it's, well, certainly is me, but I think I feel it. I can get a gauge when people are emailing me constantly and, you know, telling me what's going on with them, and there's a sense of it being, at the moment, there's a sort of a calmness, a relative calmness, which is pleasing. I kind of tend to think it's connected with what we do in these satsangs. I know that there is a ripple effect when we come together like this, that it will set off a reaction. Something positive will occur that will ripple out in the same way as when a group of people instigate a negative reaction. This isn't as noisy, obviously, it's more subtle, but it's no less powerful for that, I think, perhaps even more so. You know, the old adage that you can extinguish the entire darkness, extinguish the darkness of an entire chamber with just one single candle flame. Alluding to the fact that the light is a more powerful force than the dark. The light is positive, it is something, the dark is just an absence of light. So what we're doing here is we're channeling light. And in this instance, specifically, the flashlight blue light that the Taoists, the ancient Taoists, said or practiced as coming from the star Sirius, which is the star 8.6 light years away, that the ancient Egyptians used to honor as Isis, the Great Mother. And whether you go with all that kind of model or not, it doesn't matter. Just take it as a bit of romance, if you like. I've been practicing this particular way amongst many others in the Taoist practice for, I don't know, 35 years or so, and can attest personally to its power, particularly as a healing agent. Whether I've been using it for the sake of others or for myself, it has proven to be extremely powerful. And whether it does come from Sirius or it doesn't come from Sirius, it really doesn't matter. It feels like it does, and to me, I would never want to press that on anyone. So I'm just stating a view that you listen to decide for yourself. But if it does resonate with you, it's coming from there, that's quite interesting. It gives it a certain flavour, and if it doesn't, it's slightly light. Using light and the colours of light to generate different effects is an ancient way, common to many of the old systems, because different colours have different frequencies, and so they have a different effect on the system. And just as with sound, the Taoist healing sounds for the 5 vital organs of the energy field are just as powerful when visualized internally as when they're sounded aloud. And it's the same with light. Whether you actually have someone shine a flashlight blue light into your being physically, or you just visualize it, it will have the same effect, in many ways a more powerful effect when visualizing it. The power of the mind must not be underestimated at any time. If you've never been to a satsang before, welcome. And of course, if you have been before, welcome. The satsang, it's a Sanskrit word, meaning us coming together and sitting naked, not physically, but in terms of divesting ourselves of our layers of artifice and pretense and all the clothing of the personality, and presenting ourselves in our true nature to each other. This is the highest honour we can pay each other. And in so doing, and then collectively focusing on somehow, one way or another, channeling the light in this way, and thereby eliciting a collective awareness of the source of that light and the source of all of us, something occurs that's undefinable, ineffable, that could be placed as sort of a subtle shimmer in the air, a subtle change of light all around you or within you, whereby you know that you have effected some sort of intervention into the warp and weft underlying the structure of existence as we know it. Magic, in other words. And this particular sequence, rather than focusing on external gains, as the hook, so to speak, is focusing on developing internal qualities, or more precisely unearthing them, because we all have all the human qualities. It's just a matter of accessing them. And the blue light, which I would like you to start to envisage now as liquid, so it's like blue liquid light, is something we use to cool ourselves. And it's not cold, it's not to make ourselves cold, it's just to cool ourselves. We do create a lot of heat in the body because we are energy, and 20% of that is used up by the brain, which is a lot. The Taoist way is to get the heat to drop down into the lower part of the body so that the upper part of the body is relatively cool. And this is brilliant, yet difficult, because we run interference on ourselves. Calm is the natural state. When you look at a lake or you look at a sea, its natural, unperturbed state is calm. It's only when there is interference that it becomes choppy. We run interference on our natural state of calm by struggling. And of course we're helped greatly by everyone and everything around us struggling along with us. For example, we're struggling to keep up. The world is struggling to keep up with itself. And we're going faster and faster. Ironically, as the resources to support us dwindle faster and faster, which is exponentially accelerating the probability of our extinction, unless perhaps we calm down and slow down as a result, cool down enough to retrain ourselves at an individual level, because that's where all memes, social memes, begin with the individual. To incline less to drawing on the externals for our gratification, on other people to make us feel good, on buying products or clothing or accoutrement or tools or whatever it is we feel that we must buy and take and interact with externally to kind of fill the hole, and instead rely more and more on sourcing pure chi, the real energy that our souls and our bodies need, and hence the well-being in all respects, from within ourselves. If we can do that and thereby instigate and propagate this meme, instead of the objectivistic, psychotic push for short-term advantage that we see so prevalent nowadays, we might manage to prevail collectively, the whole human family, for the long haul. So it's definitely worth doing anything and everything we possibly can, certainly at this stage where it's exponentially accelerating in many ways the wrong direction, to ameliorate conditions. Yeah, it's human nature to want more and more. Hence why we have progress, and wonderful that we do, because it's a very privileged reality that we enjoy in many respects, unprecedented in human history for all we know. Yet, ironically, it's this very progress that would lead to our extinction if not somehow attenuated. It might not be that we have any choice in the matter. It might be that it's inevitable extinction. I mean, probably at some point, of course, at some point it is. But if we could extend our stay here for as long as possible, I believe that that's a worthwhile endeavour, and I'm sure you'd agree. So let's look at this wanting, because it's the wanting, as the Buddha said, it's the attachment is the root at the root of all suffering. It's the wanting stuff that's the glue of attachment. It elicits, or it comes from, what I would call the grasping mode, where you want to grasp at everything. And the actual mode itself, the grasping mode, becomes habitual, no matter what you're grasping at, whether you're grasping at the excitement of life or the anxiety of life, which most of us do at least in equal measure. This grasping heats up the system. You can feel it in yourself when you're caught with an urge to grasp something. It heats your body up, it heats up your system. And this is the opposite of the state of calm. The stated intention here, I noticed that I wrote, is for you, for us to feel by the end of this supremely calm, and hence far more able to manage the inbound flow of information and, I must say, output of your own gifts like a master. In other words, with great equilibrium and equipoise. The reason I say this, why information, is because, like computers, that's what we do. We're processing information at a prodigious rate constantly, most of it subconsciously, and the conscious mind, because it's acquisitive by nature, the grasping aspect of the mind, tries to develop something of it. It tries to make something of all the bits of information that come through. So, I mean, for example, if you're a creative person in your work, you get ideas. You'll see things going past on vans, or you'll hear a snatch of something, and you go, "Oh, that could be good as a whatever," or "I could turn that into a doodah," and that's how it all progresses, basically. What specifically constitutes struggle? I wonder. I'm thinking. What is it that actually runs interference on the state of calm? I experience it as etheric weather. I mean, I was saying just now that it feels that there's more, I feel that there's more quietude around. There's just a subtle shift out there in the energy. It just feels a little bit calmer. Possibly that you know, like the collective mind is like the sea, and you get currents moving through it. And that causes, that runs interference on the state of calm. If there's a lot of fractiousness in that, the psychic currents, in other words, then there's your own anxieties, and, for example, trying to keep up, and all the other sorts of anxieties. Then there's people around you disturbing you with noise, with nervousness, with stress, with manipulation, with whatever else. Then there's having so much to do at once that you're conflicted about what to prioritize. Or it could be what you ate yesterday, or the day before, or last week, or even a fortnight ago, or how much you drank. It could be physical pain, existential turmoil, right? Who am I? What am I doing here? Where am I going? It could be missing somebody that's not around, or being addicted to something that you can't get hold of, or physical illness or negative cash flow, or say being turned down for a job or a deal or a loan, or being unfairly treated by people, or feeling the pain of the suffering of humanity at large, simply having desire, living in a self-confected story, completely deluded, and then something comes along to blow your dream apart, causing you to wake up and realize that your delusion, your noise, was just that. It was just something that you concocted in your head, and the disturbance of that. It could be kind of big events like volcanic eruptions or earthquakes or wars and that sort of thing. Or so it would appear. But what lies beneath all of these is that you got so caught up in the role of being you that you forgot that you were the actor. You lost perspective. You relinquished your inner power base and projected externally. You jumped forwards into the front of your body and you forgot to slide back again. That's what I call living back to front. The being in the back of the body is actually the natural state. When we're in the womb, when you look at an embryo in the womb developing, it's the back that is most prominent. That's what shows itself, is that beautiful curve to it. That's what's developing. That is what you see of the person when you look on a microsound thing, or whatever it's called, ultrasound scan. The back is where we sit, bearing witness to being in the womb, to that beautiful freedom that is optimal at around about 6 months or so, when you know who you are, you can feel it, and you know where you are, and you've got used to the milieu, and yet it's not so closed up that you can't move around anymore. That's as close to heaven on earth as any of us will ever get. And in that state, you were in your back. You maintain that through the birth canal, through the awful crunch of the forehead or the fontanelles as you went through the birth canal. And you maintained it even while you were taking your first gasp of cold air and going through the shock of being on the planet. And all the way through your life until now. But gradually, as the external world held you in thrall progressively more, it drew you forwards to get closer to it and brought you into the front part of your body. Now, the front part of the body is a riveting place to be. It's noisy and it's quite vulnerable, therefore it's quite exciting to be there, quite scary, and it's quite weak actually. And so lots of compensation has to occur about that. And that whole process is a fascinating, riveting one, very time-consuming one. And it feels quite obligatory that we remain in the front, identifying ourselves fully with the noise of the peristaltic motion of the heartbeat, of the lungs, of the emotional conflict in the belly, of the conversation going on in the forebrain about what all this is and how am I doing inside of it all. It's incredibly compelling, and it feels that if we were to return to our former state of inner peace by going into the back, that we would be somehow perhaps irresponsible, that we'd be somehow reneging on our obligation to struggle, because the struggle is occurring in the front of the body. The back of the body is quiet, it's silent, it's still, and it's strong. It is calm. That's where calm is in the back of you. And there is no struggle in the back unless you have pain. And generally, you have pain in the back when you are struggling so much that you've actually completely sheared yourself from the root of who you are. The pain comes to remind you to come back again. So what's happened is we jumped forwards into the front of the body and forgot to slide back again. And what we need to do is front to back it instead, by which I mean that we learn to sit in the back, everywhere rear of the side seams of your shirt or your dress or whatever you're wearing on your top, assuming it has side seams, in there. It's really simple. It's just a psychospatial maneuver whereby you draw yourself back into the rear part of you, and then you still feel the disquiet, that runs interference on your calm. But it's not you being disquieted. There is disquiet, and you're bearing witness to it in the front of you, from the back of you. And therefore, it's not powerful enough anymore to make you lose your calm or to run interference on your natural state of calm. In other words, you can be calm when you're situated in the back and still accommodate the opposite of calm in the front of you without it taking you over. You remember to breathe slowly, because when you breathe slowly, this slows down the mind, which enables you to think more clearly and sensibly about your position in the present moment, and to be able to differentiate between the fantasies in your mind and what's actually occurring. You're able to discern and thereby make clearer choices moment by moment. So you feel the disquiet in the front, but you are no longer the feeling. You're just the witness bearer. And in this state, you tend to have no preferences, because you know that the yin of life will turn to the yang of life and then back again, and so on ad infinitum. The yin refers to the contracted tendency, the yang to the expansive tendency. So that when things are difficult, you don't prefer that they will become easy. You know that they will transform to their opposite. The more you relax and allow and honour the difficulty and welcome it as a gift, the faster it will transform into its opposite number. Likewise, when enjoying a phase of ease and everything going your way, you don't prefer that to the difficulty, because you know that it will transform into its opposite anyway. You just honour it, you give thanks for it, and you allow it to flow. You don't grab onto it, you don't grasp it, you let the cycle keep moving round and round and round. The more you learn to transcend preferences, simply by remembering more and more to sit in your back, and therefore the more content you are just to be here, which is the greatest gift of all. This is something that is the most important thing to remember, is we're constantly chasing for more and more out there in the world, thinking that that's going to fill us with something useful, whereas in fact we've already got it. We've got the gift already. That's the joke of it all. Why are we running around struggling like crazy monkeys for the gifts that we think we need, when actually we've got the gift of all gifts already? Knowing that you have the gift of all gifts already somehow gives you the optimal form of energy to attract to yourself all the lesser gifts that the world around has to offer with ease, without grasping. And knowing this, you're able to observe with impartiality, and therefore serenity, and therefore maintain equilibrium in a state of equipoise, which translates as being calm. This is the same as the calm that you would achieve when straddling the middle of a seesaw, instead of sitting at one end where you feel the up and down strongly. You still feel the up and the down, the motion of it all, so you're still enjoying the motion of the world. In fact, you even control it when you stand in the middle. But it's not overpowering you, so you're able to maintain your equilibrium. Now, the blue lotus, the flashlight blue light, is sharp and cool enough to slice all the noise and all the interference away. That's its value. It's the incisiveness of it. And because things are kind of tending towards hectic in the world at the moment, more and more, it seems apposite at this time to channel this light, because it's quick, it's pragmatic, it's expedient to clear away the dross, the interference, as quickly and incisively as we can. And we're going to channel it to calm your system, as your system dictates your state of mind. And then we're going to channel it into the the different levels of being, and into the three psychic chambers that constitute the anatomy of your immortal spirit body, according to the Taoist schema. These are what they call the three dantians. They're chambers, so to speak, in another dimension, but which are co-spatial with the physical body, that command all aspects of your being on all planes, the material, this earthly plane, and all other planes that you exist on simultaneously. The lowermost chamber, or dantian, which means field of heaven, or the field through which heaven operates you, is in the belly, below the level of the navel. And this commands your energy flow, your vitality, your staying on the planet survival energy, your motivation, your will, and so on. The middle chamber is in the chest, and this commands your capacity to feel what we call human emotions, the positive ones being the love, the nobility, the honour, the beauty, the dignity, and so on, caring, compassion. And the uppermost is the central brain region, and this one is commands your capacity to be conscious. Your consciousness, it's what gathers consciousness unto you. And by doing so, to connect you to the most profound dimension of being, as I said, the immortal spirit body. This is that which is in the back of you, bearing witness, which was never born and hence will never die, which bears witness to your life unfolding, presumably lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and whence springs the shocking still, the absolute stillness behind all motion. And from that, you inherit your true power. And we're going to channel it, once we've done that, collectively, down onto the earth itself, to transmit as the earth wishes to all and sundry, so that it won't just be a selfish endeavour. This will be beneficial for the whole human family and all who sail with her. So if you're ready, this will be the moment to loosen your collar and shake off your shoes and sit as comfortably as you can as if preparing to snooze, except it's important to stay fully alert and allow at the same time your body to become fully inert, and aside from breathing and all the internal functions, of course. To enhance this, take advantage of the seat that you're sitting in. Let yourself sink into it fully and sink back into it fully, so that you feel completely and utterly supported. And take a moment to observe what is occurring inside your skin. In other words, how are you holding yourself? Don't do anything to change it. How are you sitting in relation to the world around you? How are you feeling in relation to being here with all these people from every time zone on the planet, with me talking, about to enter an altered state? How are you breathing? How rigid are your muscles? How are you sitting posture-wise, and so on? And once you've noticed, then to start to make some subtle adjustments. Firstly, let's start with the breathing. Stop holding your breath and allow the breathing to flow smoothly and freely. Focus on the belly rising as you inhale and the belly dropping again as you exhale. And be aware that the breath itself is the elixir of life. This pumping motion is drawing the next moment of your life to you each time you breathe in. And the exhalation is enabling that, because you can't have one without the other. So you kind of honour the process of breathing rather than just take it for granted. Appreciate it, give thanks for it. And with that going on, give it the command to keep going on now. look at your muscles, the face, the back of the neck, shoulders, the arms, sides of the body, the front of the body, the back of the body, the hip area, genital area, the legs, the front of the legs, the back of the legs, down to the feet, down your arms to your hands, and just notice where you're holding on for no good reason. The buttocks, for example, you might find that your buttocks are very subtly gripping the seat unnecessarily. You might find that your toes are gripping the floor unnecessarily. You might find that your forearms are a bit tight. Your fingers are tending to want to grip onto something unnecessarily. You probably find that your face is holding an expression unnecessarily, or that your throat is tight unnecessarily, or the back of the neck is tight unnecessarily. Wherever you notice that there's excess holding of the muscles for no good reason, just give the command to that area of the body, relax, let go, soften. And with the breathing and the relaxation of the muscles, already calmness is increasing. As I say, it's not something that you induce. Calmness isn't something that you get from a pill, even though you can. Calmness is actually the natural state. And all those pills do that bring you calmness is to cut out the struggle mechanism that runs interference from the state of calm. We don't need pills for that. All we need to do is to come back to who we actually are. Pay attention to how you're sitting posture-wise, so the shape of your spine right now, this being the central strut of your whole being on the physical level. And visualize that some kindly being has attached a non-painful hook to the crown of your head, to which it's attached an invisible silver thread, which it's now pulling upwards towards the ceiling to give your spine more length, specifically at the back of the neck, so that you're feeling your whole spinal column elongate. And you'll notice immediately that you feel lighter as a result. Simultaneously, be aware of your shoulders and how you might be holding them up a little bit to protect yourself. Just for now, allow them to drop, and drop a little more, and drop a little more, and to broaden at the same time. Imagine, if you like, that you're actually an angel, which I posit you are, and you have a pair of invisible but nonetheless extraordinarily powerful, heavy wings, each attached to one of your shoulder blades, and the weight of those wings is causing your shoulders to drop and broaden. Get the feeling, while all this is going on, that you no longer need now to hold the weight of your head and your upper body up there. It doesn't want to be up there that way. It wants to be down in the lower part of the body, according to the laws of gravity. So rather than preventing it doing that, we do that out of habit because we've evolved into being upright bipeds. But in this moment, it's much more useful, because you've got your spine elongated and therefore are not prone to slump, to allow the weight of your head and your upper body to sink down into the lower part of your body, as if honoring the ground beneath you. Allow your weight to sink, and as you do, you'll notice that the lower part of your body now feels rooted and grounded and solid and strong, while the upper part of your body feels very light and free and clear. This is another description of the state of calm, the state of cool. You have a cool upper body and a warm lower body. This is the optimal state to attain to. And now we have the option of going front to back instead of back to front by becoming aware of your shoulder blades and the front of your spine and the rear pelvic bones and the sacrum, and imagining these to comprise the structure of the back of your chair or the back of your throne. And you allow yourself inside your skin to lean back against that structure and know that you're fully supported in there. In other words, you allow yourself to drift backwards and to occupy everything rear of the line that joins your side seams of your shirt or your dress or whatever. So everything rear of the side seams is where you're sitting. You're now accommodating, you're in command of everything that is occurring in the front. So while there may be tension in the belly, while there may be that tendency to grasp at anxiety or excitement, while there may be that susceptibility to all the external disturbing factors that would run interference on your state of calm, you yourself are perfectly calm in the back, and you're able to accommodate that flurry and flux of energy in the front as the information is being processed without it disturbing your intrinsic equilibrium. This is a great gift. From this state, let us now begin to draw down the liquid flashlight blue light from Sirius or from wherever you feel it originates, and draw it in 2 streams through the tops of your shoulders. Visualize it as coming in extraordinarily powerful torrents of liquid flashlight blue light. So powerful that there's nothing in you that can withstand it or resist it. It slides straight through the tops of your shoulders and runs down either side of your spine at the back, all the way down to the sacrum. It's so powerful that it's already radiating outwards from there to illuminate everywhere rearwards of the side seams, to cleanse and clear the space, as well as radiating upwards to cleanse the rear half of the skull and the brain inside it. And just spend a moment now feeling that blue light channeling down through, knowing that this is going to be the source of healing. At the same time as this is happening, now visualize a 3rd stream of light, flashlight blue liquid light, coming down and entering through the base of your throat, where that notch is at the top of your breastbone, streaming down the midline of the front of your body, along the front of your spine, all the way down to your pelvic floor, so powerfully that it is also radiating outwards to everywhere forwards of the side seams, including up into the front of the brain, so that the entirety of the front part of your body and your brain is now completely suffused in this incredibly bright, incisive flashlight blue liquid light. Feel it cleanse and cool the belly of all its tension. So all that tendency towards irritating the bowels, all that tendency to hold the breath, all that tendency to be tense in the belly area, simply for fear of life, is being cleansed and cooled and calmed. And it's something that can't be resisted. This flashlight blue light is so powerful, it is irresistible. And your belly, no matter how much it may protest, cannot but surrender to the power of this flashlight blue liquid light, cleansing and cooling and calming. While that's going on, the light is also doing exactly the same inside your chest, cleansing the entire chest region of all the closed offness, of all the self-protection, of all the self-isolating tendencies that have evolved over years of being hurt and let down and betrayed and so on, but which protection also causes you to be disconnected, and that causing pain to your soul. Feel the blue light right now cleansing the heart area of all of that, cleansing you of all the negative input of others, cleansing you of all the closed offness of yourself, to allow for absolute clarity of heart. And at the same time, feel the blue light cleansing the frontal aspects of the brain of all the mental noise and the poisoned thoughts and the fear thoughts and the self-deprecating thoughts and the judgmental thoughts and the thoughts that are based on preferences and prejudices and spurious subjective criteria. Feel the front of the brain be totally cleansed of all thoughts by this irresistible blue light, which is there because it's streaming down through the back of you and also down through the front of you and then radiating outwards to all parts of you. Feel the light move through all your neural pathways, cleansing your nerves, calming your nerves, cooling everything down. Feel the blue light move through your blood vessels, through all the fluids in your body, cooling and calming. Feel the blue light move through all the muscles and the connective tissue throughout your system, all the way into your bones, through all your bones, through the very bone marrow, so that your whole body is now suffused through and through with this flashlight blue liquid light, cleansing everywhere, cooling everywhere, calming everywhere. And as you can already tell, I'm sure, this is not an inert calmness. This is an active calmness. Now, to counter any potential excess chill or coldness from the blue light, inject a subtle glow of orange-yellow flame below the level of the navel to subtly warm the belly, just as a sign to your mind that that's where you're producing chi. At the same time, inject just a subtle hint of rose gold light into the center of the chest to warm the heart area. And inject a subtle white into the front of the brain just to keep it fully alert. And now again, lean right back. Make sure that you're filling everything backwards of the side seams. And rest your mind in the rear of the skull. Cool, cleansed, and calm. Visualize the two halves of your breastplate now opening like a pair of sliding doors to enable the essence of you, your soul, to radiate its rose gold beauty, its love, the essence of you freely to everyone in our circle here and beyond, to everyone there is. Enjoy that feeling, and from the back of the head, leaning back into the rear of the skull, enjoy the front of the brain being flooded with white light, free of all thought. Simultaneously aware that there's this constant downflow of extraordinarily bright flashlight blue liquid light coming through the shoulders, down through either side of the spine at the back and in through the throat, down the front of the body, radiating out everywhere, unstoppably, healing everything, cleansing everything, cooling everything, calming everything. Breathe slowly, soften the muscles a little more, lengthen the spine a little more, drop and broaden the shoulders a little more. Notice any turbulence that's arising in the front. This arises from the habituation to the state of struggle. And wherever it is concentrated, gather and focus the blue light into it there till it cools and calms. Same for any area of the body now that has pain in it, which is an accumulation of heat or struggle energy. And it just send that blue light concentrated into that region until it completely cleanses and cools and calms. And in this state, with your soul, make contact with everyone else in here with you, with me, with all of us, and see us as a circle of angels sitting in the ether around the planet. And together, collectively, stream this exponentially enhanced and amplified and intensified light, this flashlight blue light, to the earth that's in our midst, and see it spread ubiquitously to all corners of the earth, to cool and cleanse and be calm the entire world. Now, for your reward, focus on your week ahead, however it may look to you at this moment, and suffuse it with the same flashlight blue light that comes from us collectively. So exponentially multiply by all of us here some huge amount of blue light. Suffuse your vision of the week ahead with this blue light so that everything in your week ahead and thereafter is cleansed, is cooled, and is calm. And see yourself walking through your tasks and your responsibilities, all your doings, all your communications, all your conversations, all your transactions with ease and enjoyment, and everything being highly successful for you. Take a moment just to sit and relish that sensation. Completely suffuse it with the blue light. Know that just by coming back into so-called everyday consciousness now, in no way inhibits or slows or stops the flow of the blue light, and that this light will continue to downpour through you indefinitely, unless you tell it to stop. And even then, I'm not really sure that it would listen. And now that you've instigated this process will continue of itself. With that fortifying knowledge or intention, start to wriggle your toes, wriggle your ears, wriggle your fingers, wriggle your nose, and slowly raise your eyelids if you feel like, and come back into the room. And we'll now do some Q&As. I've been a bit remiss with those because I've kept running on the last couple of times or so. So I'm quite excited to have a Q&A session now. I'm going to hand this over to Sue to explain what to do.
Hi Stephen, can you hear me okay?
Hiya.
Okay, if you would like to ask a question, please either type it into the question box so I can read it out on your behalf, or raise your hand by clicking the blue circle with the yellow hand and the green arrow, and then I'll know you're waving at me and you'd like to be put through live on air with Doc. Okay, we have a couple of questions already pre-submitted, Stephen.
Yeah.
So this one is from Mike. Mike says, is it selfish to go on about how calm we are when there is so much uncertainty and so many problems in the world?
I call it self-full, and I'd say that the calmer that we are, the more help we can be, the more service we can be to our fellows, and this is the time when that is required. So anything we can do to help calm others around us is a good thing. I mean, you know, I hate to pander to these nasty cliches, but keep calm and carry on. The Ministry of Defence of Britain poster from the Second World War. They could have said anything. They could have said, be courageous and carry on, or think of your country and carry on. Well, they chose be calm and carry on. For a good reason. You know, from calmness, we think clearly, we act more sensibly, more effectively. So, no, I'd say it's self-full and responsible of us, especially because there's so much trouble going on around. If we were to get frantic and frazzled as well, we would not be of any help to anybody. We couldn't be of any help to anybody, as well as which it's our right to enjoy each moment of life as much as we can. This doesn't prevent others enjoying their lives, or it doesn't make it worse for others by us enjoying it. And I'm talking about true enjoyment, enjoyment of valuing the gift of life. We then serve as a beacon of light to others. We serve as an example to them, rather than as something that they feel irritated by or makes them feel worse. Yeah, we need to be cheerful, we need to be calm to help others, in short. Good question.
Leslie's asking, she says, I feel I'm in a permanent state of stress right now. How can I regain calm, dear Doc?
Well, dear Leslie, we're all in a state of permanent stress. That's the thing. I mean, being alive in a human body or any other kind of body is stress. There has to be a degree of stress, or we just fall apart, become a heap. So there must be stress. It's just when there's excess stress. So it's a matter of degrees, really. And the answer to it all is, as I said, to sit in the back of you, to learn to occupy everywhere rearwards of the side seams. And if you can stay back behind your side seams, so to speak, while breathing and going through everything we just did, no matter what's occurring in the front of you, it will not throw your equilibrium too much. You also have to acknowledge that the stress you feel is stress that you're actually generating yourself. And that isn't to say you're mad or wrong. What it means to say is that you're generating that stress, that level of stress in the belly, because that's what it takes to make you feel alive right now. And when you acknowledge that, when you can say, hey, this stress that I feel in my belly right now is something I'm generating because this is what it takes to make me feel alive, and you can do it positively like that, you'll notice that instantly the stress dissolves. It's a lovely trick. You should try it, or could try it. That's it, really. It's just honouring and owning the stress that you're generating, and you're doing it not because you're mad, because you're enjoying it, because it makes you feel alive. As soon as you can get to that, the stress stops being pernicious and calms down. Let me know if that works for you.
A couple of comments for you, Stephen. Rosemary says, I just wish to say a big thank you for a wonderful super healing event at the Angel this week, sending calm and love to all.
Thank you. I have to say, thank you for reminding me. That was an exceptionally beautiful event. It was like a 3-hour satsang, but focusing on healing, pure and simple, and it was very, very, very powerful. It's something I intend to do all over the world, so look out for one of them. It really was special. I'm very excited. Super healing, that's the one. Thank you, Rosie, for reminding me.
And Dorcas, talking about the satsang this time, says, such a good feeling. Thank you so much. Blessed be.
And blessed be you as well, because, you know, I never know when I'm doing it. I'm just sitting here doing it, and it's feeling like that to me. It gets to the end, and that little part of me that wonders goes, ooh. Firstly, I don't know if anyone was listening, if it's all been in silence. And secondly, I just don't know if it's got through. So it's always very lovely to have that reassurance. Thank you, Dorcas.
And unless we get any more questions suddenly arriving, this is the last one, and it's with a comment as well from Malkit. And she says, hi Stephen, as always, very informative and enlightening satsang and meditation. Thank you. Lately, the more I get into the practice, I'm finding I'm becoming quite detached and disillusioned with people around me. I don't know whether this is just me, or maybe I am finding a lot of stuff that some people say or do is so unnecessary. What's your take on this?
Hey, Mark, nice to hear from you. Glad you enjoyed the session. Yeah, well, I do find that I think it's to do with liver energy in me. I've noticed that when I go through phases of being quite judgmental of people, and that's when my liver energy is overheating. Then there are other times, which I think is more what you're talking about, where you're sitting back inside and you can see the opposite and the artifice of the other. You can see the manipulation that they're engaging in or attempting to. It's so transparent that you kind of want, well, why are you bothering? It's so obvious. Don't you realise that I can totally see what you're doing here? And then I will generally tend to point it out. Sometimes I'm in a polite mood sideway, and I'll just kind of, I don't know, but I feel it's a disservice to the other if I don't point it out. And I will do so as carefully as I possibly can, choosing my words very carefully. This is usually misinterpreted, by the way, because the other is so stuck in the act that they don't even listen straight. And I don't care. I mean, it's like I've said what I've just say. I'll say it with love, say it with compassion. And for me, that's better than just cutting someone out, because the instinct usually, when someone's playing up like that, they say, oh, just go, I don't want to talk to you, I just don't want to deal with you. But to me, that's doing them a disservice, because, you know, they are the Buddha, come to give me a message, must honour everybody if possible. And so I feel that it's okay. And if that does cause, if me telling them how I see it, in as compassionate and good a way as possible, does cause a sort of divergence of the ways, then so be it. I find that they will always come back at some point and acknowledge what was going on. And in any case, it doesn't really matter, because the real connection isn't between the personalities. The real connection is between the souls, which are really essentially ultimately all one anyway. It's just the one presence playing with itself. And so as long as there is no violent thought, given nurturance, in other words, no wish for any harm to come to the other, only just letting go in grace, you know, wishing for the best for everybody, I think that the pathways of energy roll very clearly and everything carries on working. We don't have to have everyone like us, that's the whole point, and we never will anyway. It doesn't matter. I think we need to become a little bit more inured to all that sort of being popular nonsense and just be ourselves with love, and whatever will be, will be. I think we'll always be looked after, and it's all fine. I think you can say whatever you want to say to anyone as long as you say it with love and compassion and respect, really, even if it's not a nice thing to say. I don't know if I got the right end of the stick there, but that's kind of more or less it, I guess.
Okay, we've got a comment from Penny and a couple more questions. Penny says, thank you, BD. Really feeling this series.
Good, Penny. Me too. It does feel special, this. It seems time for it. It's quite a deep one. I think we're playing with something beyond ourselves here, for sure, in my experience of this blue light thing. It's quite exciting, really. I don't want to talk about it too much, because then you stray into the realm of talking nonsense, because it is quite ineffable, all of it, but definitely something special going on here. Yeah.
Dorcas is asking, how can I use the blue light to illuminate my upcoming responsibilities and dealings with other people?
I love the way you say illuminate. Could you say that one more time? Illuminate. Go on.
How can I use the blue light
so just the illuminate
to illuminate
oh, I love that.
my
illuminate.
upcoming responsibilities and dealings with other people?
Okay, Dorcas, say you have a transaction upcoming with someone that's making you feel a bit anxious because you don't know if they're going to take advantage of you, or you're going to get the best deal on offer, or whatever. You picture the scene in which the two of you will meet, and this can be symbolic if say the transaction is going to occur by email or phone or whatever. You just picture a space where the two of you are sitting, and you draw the light down, as it were, from Sirius, or wherever you believe it comes from, and you flood the room with it, so that both of you are sitting illuminated fully by this flashlight blue light, and this light is cleansing both of you of any psychic dross, of any selfishness, of any unfairness, of any skewed thinking, and cooling both of your minds down and calming both of you. Then you picture your heart, because you also picture yourself being in your back, and in front of you, your heart with a bit of rose gold radiating out, emanating, and enveloping the other, a bit like fairy dust, and softening them. And then you picture a connection between the center of your head and the center of theirs, the center of your chest, the center of theirs, the center of your belly, the center of theirs. You, through that connection, see that the background presence in them is one with the background presence in yours. You pay your great respects to the background presence in them from the background presence in you, and then you ask that the negotiations take place with absolute fairness, and that the very best for both will be the result. And then you sit back and relax, and you'll find that when it comes to it, that's exactly what will happen, in a nutshell.
Okay, we have two last questions now. One from Monica and one from Geraldine. So we'll start with this one from Monica.
Yeah.
who says, I feel very sad. My mother is being placed in a home after living with me for 15 years. How do I handle the guilt?
Oh, bless you and bless her. Well, of course you're going to feel guilty. But the what is guilt? Guilt is actually masked anxiety of some awful, horrible retribution coming to you from the divine spheres for discarding your mother's sight. In fact, I'm sure that this has been incredibly difficult and has come after much thought and is only happening because it's impossible to look after her otherwise. And therefore, the intention is the highest good. And there will be no divine retribution other than in your imagination. And therefore, you have to trust that the Tao, your God, your whatever, your presence, condones this. If you can go into the back of you, and from there you can reach to the back of the background presence in your mother, where all is healed already, and you can speak between your two higher selves, as it were, you'll find immediately that your mother's higher self totally understands and forgives you. Again, if you can visualize, like I was saying to Dorcas, the two of you sitting together and the blue light suffusing the scene, cleansing both of you of all unnecessary thoughts and misconceptions, and cooling and calming and cleansing like that. Have a little bit of rose gold come from your heart, reach out to her heart, feel the three dantians connect, and in that, just assure your mother, not that you have to, that everything is for her best, and that everything, as painful as strange as it is going to be, is as it's meant to be and will result for the highest good. Then you sit right back inside, and any sensations of conflict that you're feeling inside, you accommodate them, but they're not who you are. So you just see, there is conflict. You can call it guilt if you want. You can call it Roger the Rabbit. It doesn't matter. It's just a sensation, a toxic energy that's just kind of arising to be escaping out of your mouth as soon as possible. So you just breathe it out like a poison, really, because it isn't true. Your mother would wish to feel no guilt, not from her higher self, I'm sure. And it's a matter of, obviously, of you accepting and forgiving yourself on the basis that nothing is ideal. Life is messy, and we do the best we can. And stay in touch with me and let me know how it goes, and we'll talk about it. And Geraldine.
Yes, Geraldine's asking, how best can this lovely internal peace inform travel to Syria, Iraq, Gaza, etc., where lack of peace and calm is lacking so disastrously?
Well, it would be, you'd be very surprised, Geraldine. I understand from that you're going to be going to these places, but even if not, when in troubled spots, you'd be surprised how amazingly peaceful you can feel in the midst of that tension. And quite often, it's when there's the most external tension that you can feel the most internal calm, because it's required of you to do so. So just like when you take off in a plane, it thrusts you back in the sea with the G-force. It's the same, if you thrust back inside your own internal sea, you're able to fly much faster. In other words, you're able to operate much more effectively in those places. I wouldn't expect in any way for the front part of you to be feeling or because it isn't like that. This is like really rough stuff. This is right on the cold face, the front line of human suffering, of course. But this is where it is even more crucial to sink all the way back inside, keep the heart open and operate from a centered space, and you will be amazed at how calm you actually feel in the midst of activity, because that is the whole point of all this Taoist practice, the Tai Chi, the Qigong, this meditation we're doing. It's to learn to maintain this state of inner calm, which is the natural state, especially in the midst of intense activity. And I'm sure that you'll be able to do it. Please stay in touch with me and let me know what happens and what that's all about, and see if I can be of help as you go along. And for everyone here, thank you so much for being here. And it has been supremely wonderful. I'd hope to see you, I'd love to see you here next week. These are powerful, and I watch my own life unfold as a result of doing these week by week, and the effect is quite radical and profound. And the joy and privilege of going through it with everybody, all of us together, this is special. And I thank you for it. Bless you. And I wish your week to be filled with more magic than you can possibly expect or imagine at this point in time. Thank you for being here. See you next week. Bye. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled.